Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On the Go Post Show with your Go Morning team. I'm Danielle Wiggins with Holly Strano, Dave Chanowski. Wake up,
What was
Danielle.
that?
I don't know what
He was calling you Allison.
I don't know what was. I wasn't. I don't know what it was about to come out of my mouth, but it wasn't Austin.
Wuston.
Austin Love.
Wustenhauser.
Right. Lord, let's
My
take
German
a sip
name.
more to coffee. Austin Love and Maureen Guile. We have a lot to talk about this morning and we definitely want to get your thoughts on this story about, what's going on. A number of people have quit their jobs because of the pandemic, and Austin is going to have a little bit more about that. Do you know people who has said, I'm done with this job? Switching careers during the pandemic. We want to hear about that, and also let us know your name and where you are watching from. But we start with Holly because yesterday we had cooler temperatures, and a lot of people probably wondering, when can I get back in that pool?
Yesterday we only hit 65, so that was exactly what we forecasted, but so far from normal highs, which are in the low 80s. And in fact, that was literally 2 degrees warmer than our normal low for this time of the year yesterday. So it was a cool day. I mean, it was pleasant if you were dressed for it. We had sunshine, but it was chilly. Today, starting off cool. If you're with us right now, you know it. We're in the 40s and 50s. It's definitely great sleeping weather. We can save on the AC again today. And we will be a little bit warmer with highs in the 70s. So it'll be much more pleasant as far as the feel into the afternoon. And then we'll be back in the 80s. So tomorrow, Friday, both of those days look dry. And then we get into a we'll say summer-like pattern for the weekend. Partly sunny, scattered storms, more humid, highs in the 80s. And that continues into next week. So
yes. As soon as you said the 80s, the smile came back to my face.
Right.
See, I got my jacket on. It's cold in the newsroom all the time anyway. You said what, Holly?
I said it's almost the 4th of July, for goodness sakes.
Yes. You are correct. Yeah. Thank you so much, Holly. We appreciate that. If you have any questions about the forecast, it is in the comments section if you are watching on Facebook. But right now, we also are talking about trying to get the retail industry bouncing back after the pandemic. Austin, you've been on this story this morning, and boy, we've seen a lot of help wanted signs. What is going on?
Yeah, and you got to feel for these small business, especially the small business owners here locally, where last year they were completely shut down and obviously taking a huge hit on business in that aspect. And I don't think really anyone necessarily thought that this would be where we'd be at now, to think that open up, business is good, this and that. But now we're sitting at just trying to get enough workers. So that has been the story for the past 6 months, I think, right now. And it's now even being more amplified, where the unemployment rate in Ohio is currently sitting at the highest it's been since early pandemic. Unemployment numbers sitting at 5%, which is pretty significant. And yeah, so some employers, they've cut jobs, but also a lot of the bigger issue here is that workers are leaving because they're unhappy or they're finding more money on unemployment simply. So you've seen a number of pictures through this with social media. We have them on our website as well. Many businesses just being forced to close early. Someone even tweeted at me saying that the Burger King and Medina or something, they went there the other day and it was closed because they didn't have workers simply. I mean, when has that ever happened? I can't think of a time, but that's what a lot of places are thinking of, and not even just like the chains of Burger King. And I've gone to Starbucks recently, actually, and they haven't been open. I'm assuming just because it's a lack of workers. So this is something that's taking place. It's hitting the corporations. It's also hitting the small businesses where they are, cutting hours, cutting different services. Restaurants aren't opening. They're open to full capacity technically, but they aren't serving full capacity because they just don't simply have enough servers. They don't want to completely have one server for 30 tables, something like that. So right now the leisure and hospitality industry has the highest quit rate among employees, which is sitting at 5.3%. So simply just they get up and leave, or they quit after their shift or before their shift, or however that they might do it. But 5.3% is the highest that the right now in that industry that they're seeing. So, Maureen brought up a good point. this morning is that, and we've seen it in our industry. I had a call yesterday with our company just of how we can incorporate people back into the workforce. And honestly, I want more flexibility. I don't want to have to just come to the station just to be at the station to waste time. It's not efficient sometimes. So I think that's something that we're going to be seeing more and more in the workplace. I mean, it's crazy just the ripple effects that COVID has had on so many different industries and people's mindset. And this is definitely something that has come to the foreground. And, you know, looking at workers, there is something that could have a effect of getting more people back into the workforce coming June 26th. Expanded unemployment benefits run out here in Ohio, so that will no longer be available as of Saturday. So experts, professors that we've talked to believe that more and more people will start coming back to work because it financially won't make sense to them. But it's what we were talking about earlier. How can we make the workforce more of a, or the workplace more of a flexible area for people that have had that flexibility working from home?
Yeah, and the Washington Post actually just posted an article about 6 days ago, so I guess that wouldn't be just, saying, quoting statistics from the Labor Department, that 4 million people quit their jobs in April alone. So wow. You had to see, my goodness. And it's interesting because my family went on vacation. We posted it on Facebook. I did on my professional Facebook page. We went to Busch Gardens, and I must say that it was underwhelming because all of the attractions were closed. My kids don't want to ride roller coasters, and so that was like mostly the only attractions that were open. So usually the items that we would do, it was closed. It was like, but we still had to pay full price, and a lot of
you've seen that at Cedar Point too.
Closed.
Yeah, same thing with Cedar Point. They remember there was that first day fiasco that was not a lot of people were happy with Cedar Point just because so many things were closed, super long lines, and it came down to workforce.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see that it's really impacting different people. Mo, Dave, what are you all seeing in the community?
You know, it's some of these jobs that you guys mentioned, retail or restaurant industry. You know, we have like a super busy schedule this summer, and we tried to hire a landscaper just to come and do like the mulch for us this year. And everybody we called, my husband went through multiple landscapers that said, we wish we could take on the job, but we didn't get our staff back. And so it's a lot of those industries too. And, you know, it's people are finding, like we mentioned, they're finding more money on unemployment, especially with those extended benefits. But I think pretty much every industry is affected by this. And then, you know, then you have the offices and the workplaces where people are now being told, okay, come back in to work. And you have employees asking, okay, well, what are you going to do for my work-life balance? And so I think this is not just a restaurant issue or small business retail issue. This is a whole mind shift and whole industry shift of big change. Just people, you know, got used to a certain lifestyle. The world discovered that you don't need as much office space, or maybe, you know, maybe like just as an example, maybe a landscaper learned, hey, well, actually I can do all these jobs with a crew of 5 instead of a crew of 8. So I think there's going to be a lot of kinks to be worked out over the next. It'll take a year to figure all of this out.
And Austin, I remember you doing that story about the young man who became a TikTok star. I think he was like a marketing director before, because a lot of times they got laid off and they just said, well, I'll try something that I wanted to do, and I'm not returning back to the industry that I did pre-pandemic.
Yeah, he was laid off, and it gave him an opportunity to just do something that he really wanted to do. And for another example of just a shifting workforce, I don't think she'll mind, but take, for example, my girlfriend, she worked at a local company. She was in marketing. She went to and from the office every single day. and ultimately got a new job where she's a marketing director at a full remote company. She will never have to go into an office besides just like occasional travel here and there. And that's one example of another changing workforce, because honestly, if you don't need to be in the building with these people, it actually makes more sense business wise, because you're pulling from a huge pool of people. It's hard to get people to move to these small towns, or Cleveland, for example. It used to just be you have to go to, if you wanted these huge jobs, New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, like these huge cities, Nashville. And it actually makes more sense to pull from this. So that's one maybe added benefit from the pandemic in terms of better workforce and better work-life balance of doing that. So it's going to be interesting. Like, I think we're just seeing growing pains, but it's of this. I know, Maureen, I think you hit it right. It's going to take a while, maybe even a year to figure this out.
Yeah. I know I've told you guys this story before, but I always use my friend as an example, because right before the pandemic, she had a baby. Baby's a couple months at this point. She asked her manager, hey, can I just work from home one day a week so that I can, just take care of stuff at home? It wasn't like she said, I'm going to do laundry while I'm working, but it was sort of just like to save on the runaround and on the lunch hour, throw things in and not have to pay for a sitter one day a week. And they told her flat out, no, we don't do that for anybody. Then 3 months later, COVID hits, everybody's working from home. And then they send out a survey saying, how many days a week would you want to work from home? And she's opted to just not go back and just always work from home. So that's how fast that shift was even like months before the pandemic. It was like, no, we don't let anybody ever work from home. Too bad. Now she's never going back in. But as we talk about this too, there are certain jobs that have that luxury. And so I think that's the big divide too, is that there are office jobs, like Austin said, his girlfriend can opt to not go in. And that industry said, you know what, work remotely, we'll see you at a conference at a coffee shop or whatever. But then you have the coffee shop workers who don't have that option of
or retail.
Or retail.
Yeah.
Or, there are certain jobs. I mean, even we are going to be on set every day. So there are certain jobs. So you can't work from home, that you can work from home. This has been a whole year-long study. There's so many articles out about this, but I think now it's time. The issue that we're seeing is, okay, well, now it's not just a philosophy anymore. Now it's time to go back to work. And now you have this great divide of one set of rules for this group and this type of worker, and a whole other set of rules for this type of worker. And that's causing some people to look at it and go, well, maybe I don't want to go back to being a bartender and working until 3 a.m. or something.
We will definitely see what happens after those unemployment benefits, the extra ones, run out this weekend. So as you said, Maureen, is going to be that case study. And as we close, Robin Thomas, thank you for joining us from Alabama. How is Alabama doing? Let us know. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, both on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. And